only fitting. ESPN's Mike Reiss helping set the table for training camp. And Mike, I got to say, the one thing that stood out about your interview with Drake out in Auburn was the little smirk, the little smile that came on his face there when you brought up A.J. Brown. What are your thoughts on him? What was your takeaway from that conversation?
I'm right there with you, Nick, with just sort of like we watched them, you and me, at the end of spring practices, and they seem to have a little something going on there, right? And they got together a little bit with some of the other pass catchers in North Carolina, leading into them reporting this week for training camp. And I think Drake realizes he's got something sort of potentially special here if they can put the work in and get it going. And I thought, Nick, I don't know if you agree, he looked relaxed. He looked totally in command, and he looked fired. He sounded and looked fired up to get this thing going, almost like with a little chip on his shoulder based on the way last season ended, to try to want to get back to that same spot in the Super Bowl and this time win it.
No question about it when he was saying, yeah, exactly. It feeds you during the offseason. That's what that's for, is to just make you think about it. You got to think that he has definitely been a little salty about how that ended. But his demeanor, you're talking about body language and just the mannerisms out there. I mean, dude was a rock star officially throughout this area, every stop along the way. What do you make of him just as the leader now? Drake, now the veteran quarterback that he is, stepping up in the community, but also organizing those events like the trip down to Charlotte.
Yeah, I think it's been a natural evolution, Nick. You know, like he came in as a rookie and Jacoby Brissett was here, and I felt like he was subservient to Jacoby, like didn't want to step on his toes because he said, I got to earn it as a rookie, right? And then each year, I feel like it's sort of grown. And the thing that stands out to me this year, second year in that Josh McDaniels offensive system, I feel like there's an ownership aspect to it that feels really natural, like he belongs, he feels the ownership, and he wants to help take this thing to the next level.
What do you think about that next step for a guy who was MVP runner-up? How much room for growth is there in this year two that you're talking about?
I think a lot of room for growth, and even going back to the spring practices, some of the things they were experimenting with him, where they would have him rush up to the line of scrimmage and not give him a play. So he would have to sort of get the offense set and make a snap decision. And I feel like that's the next step. And almost like we could go back to 2002 when Tom Brady was in his second year in Josh McDaniels' system, and just sort of seeing the growth that he took. And there's so much more there for quarterbacks in Josh McDaniels' system as they get more experience in it. And if you have the traits and the mental acumen to take those things in the system and make them your own, it can really be incredible. And that, to me, is one of the biggest things to watch for this year with Drake and the Patriots.
That is a scary thought when you think about just how well they were clicking. It seemed like on all cylinders there at the end of minicamp, going through those red zone drills where it mattered most. Seemed like a clean operation, especially on the offensive side. Thinking about all the different targets that he had to look for. You think about the booties of the world, Dobbs in that receiver room, that stacked receiver room. How do you see that playing out here over the course of training camp?
Well, I love that you just pointed out Kayshon Boutte, because when I think about the questions to be answered for the Patriots in training camp, Kayshon Boutte's one of them. So, Nick, if we were making a 53-man roster projection right now, like I've got A.J. Brown, I've got Romeo Dobbs, I've got Mac Hollins, Kyle Williams, Kayshon Boutte, I've got Pop Douglas, and I've got Efton Chisholm. That's 7 receivers. That is like at least one more than you'd think you'd have, and maybe 2 more for some teams that might keep 5. So, does Kayshon, is there a trade possibility there? Does a team come calling and say, look, we see you got a logjam that you paid a lot for A.J. Brown and Romeo Dobbs. What are you doing with Boutte? I think the Patriots would obviously be listening if that opportunity presents itself. But, Nick, at the same time, they're not going to give him away. Kayshon Boutte's a really good player. So I think that is one of a couple situations that we got to monitor here as the team reports back for camp. and they get ready for that first practice on Saturday.
To think about the touchdown catches he made over the course of last season, just how quickly things can change. It is unreal that we're even talking about that possibility. But what are the possibilities in terms of moves to be made? You feel like there is still room for movement along the roster in terms of wheeling and dealing?
Definitely, Nick. I think the one area that I'd really lock in on right now is tight end. They had Julian Hill, who they signed as a free agent, who suffered a season-ending knee injury in the spring. And so the depth behind Hunter Henry, outside of Eli Raridan, their third-round pick, you got to sort through some of that depth, and do you need someone else? So that would be one spot that I would look at. And I think there's other things that can come up. So this week, though, Monday, the coaches are going to be in. You're going to see some injured players that are rehabbing or that have been rehabbing come in, and we're going to get a better feel for, are those players ready for camp? And sometimes some unexpected things pop up at certain positions that we don't forecast, that maybe you got to go out and bolster those positions where that might be the case as well.
All right, a lot to look forward to in this training camp. That was our deep dive on the offensive side of the ball. Plenty to talk about on the defensive side as well, Mike. Some question marks, some new faces on all levels. We'll get into that here in round 2 of our discussion. So stay put. We'll talk to you in a minute, my friend.
Sounds great.
And if you are Foxborough bound, here's what you need to know coming up this week. Practices scheduled for Saturday through Tuesday for a day off Wednesday. Gates open at 9:15. Practices starting around 10:15, all free. You can check patriots.com/training camp for updates. Mike, new season, a lot of new faces, especially on the defensive side of the ball. So who really stands out to you as a guy the Patriots are going to be leaning on defense?
Well, I love the way you put it, Nick, where you talked about sort of new season, new faces. And I want to add one thing. Will there be a new contract for Christian Gonzalez? Because that's the first thing defensively that I want to look at, because I view Gonzalez as their best defensive player. And we might be able to argue, is it Milton Williams? Is it someone else? But to me, the way he played in the Super Bowl sets this up as the question coming into training camp, because if there's no new contract for Christian Gonzalez, does he practice? Is he a hold-in? And as we talk tonight, Sunday night, there's no new contract. Now, that can change in a snap. This week, I feel like, will be telling. Friday would be the day that Gonzalez would be reporting, unless he comes earlier. So, like, the countdown's sort of on there, Nick, and that's sort of where I start defensively.
Mandatory minicamp, he was there, but we saw him doing a little less there, load management, or just treating it the way that he felt was the best interest for him and the team. Do you anticipate, if there is no deal, that we'll be seeing a similar kind of approach to training camp?
I do, Nick, just because I feel like when he was asked, the last question was, if there's no deal before training camp, what would be your reaction to that? And his answer was, there's a lot of time between now and training camp. And that was back in, June 8th or whatever the date was. And so to me, that was a message, Nick, that as it stands now, at whatever that contract is, I think he's due to earn a little over $2 million, which is really low for a player of his caliber. Players of his caliber getting about $30 million a year. There's got to be some type of adjustment for him to practice full throttle and risk injury, that could blow up the whole negotiation for him. So that, to me, is the situation that sort of, is number one for the defense, but they got a lot of other nice pieces to work with there, as long as they can get that one squared away.
Contract questions for Gonzo and also for Gabe Akis. Where do we stand with the signing of that draft pick?
Well, unsigned, one of only a handful of draft picks that haven't been signed. And my understanding is this, Nick, like he's going to come to the facility and take a physical. And if the physical goes okay, that will be the first domino to fall to try to get that contract done. But nothing can happen until he passes a physical. And I was told by someone familiar with his rehab this spring that he had a little cleanup on his knee. He's been posting some videos on social media that appear to show that he's moving well, but this is a key checkpoint The rookies are due to report Wednesday this week. Maybe he's in a little bit before then because of the injury situation. I don't know that, but I feel like within the next 2 or 3 days, Nick, we should have some more clarity with that.
And looking at that roster, Mike, obviously training camp where jobs are won and lost. No job is safe. But where are you looking at the biggest position battles, would you say, going into camp?
So it's interesting for the Patriots defense. I feel like a lot of those battles are in the depth spots. Like the starters are pretty well solidified. That edge spot where we were talking about Gabe Akis, you have Draymond Jones, who they signed as a free agent, and Harold Landry, who didn't practice at all this spring after undergoing his own knee surgery this offseason. So Gabe Akis was going to be, in my view, possibly the next man up. Maybe it's Elijah Ponder. Maybe it's Braden Swinson. I would go with that edge spot, Nick. I'm curious your thoughts on that. I mean, because to me, it's you got to get after the passer. And that pass rush where they don't have Kayvon Chase on anymore is going to be a spot I'm going to be looking for.
I defer to the professionals, my friend, and I think your guidance, your wisdom never leads us astray, my friend. I appreciate you and your analysis here as the countdown to training camp is on Friday. Veterans Report. We'll see you on the practice fields on Saturday, my friend, and then there is no turning back. Questions will be answered.